right, what's in this podcast? Episode 83. We're moving right along. This one is a very special episode. I'm meeting with a new friend, Josephus. Part of the Poetry Cafe.
Correct.
Tell the people a little bit about what you do and everything that you bring to the table.
Well, the Poetry Cafe is an open mic. It's been around since about 2009. Started in Greensboro, North Carolina. Became a radio show in 2012. And started touring different college campuses in 2015.
Nice.
This show's on Amazon Prime, 2019-21.
Nice.
And just constantly creating a larger platform for people to be able to express themselves.
Right.
So we just really encompassing art, and music, and poetry.
Okay.
MC has open mic, you know what I'm saying? So where you can get your rocks off as a budding artist. We just took this one to the next level and created a radio platform, a TV platform, and now a tour for college campuses.
Nice. So what got you into poetry? Like, what was your start into that?
Man, start was I think school, like everybody else.
Yeah.
It was a classroom assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher gave me some kudos about it, so I was pretty good at it.
Nice.
They ended up performing like a Black History Month event or day or something like that in high school. And kind of went from there as far as growing and learning my craft and getting. I think everybody, when you're validated about something, like, I might be good at this.
Right.
With it, you know. They become professionally doing poetry until maybe 2010.
Okay.
So it took a minute.
Yeah.
For the grind, but been writing.
Yeah. So you're still 12 years in now?
Probably about 15 20 years in now.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Yeah, that's good. So what are some of the things that you had to come across while learning about poetry?
So one of the biggest things I would say is that probably, 75 to 80% of my income is through education.
Right.
As a poet, lots of people see you on stage performing or touring or traveling. And I mean, that's a great thing, but the education system, that money is consistent. There are new students all the time. You read the same books in the 7th grade classroom every year, right? But the students change. Right. So same thing with the curriculum based on poetry. We use the same curriculum for 5, 10, 15 years, but the students every year are the ones that are changing. And so the biggest hurdle for me was probably getting accepted into that circle. Right. Because principals and English teachers were like, what are you going to do with my students in the class? You're going to do a poem? Yeah. And I was like, nah, it's much more than that. Yeah. Because similes and metaphors are part of the curriculum, I was able to tie it in, make it a full lesson plan, and offer that to students and teachers and get paid for it. Nice. And so the biggest thing for me was just transposing that into educational field and having people in that industry take you seriously. Right.
So you find yourself to be more of an educator than someone who's just reciting poems for a crowd. Yeah,
definitely. I think being a poet, you do a little bit of both.
Right.
But I definitely spend probably as much time in the classroom as I do on stage.
Right. That's how I feel about like being an artist. Is like I feel like with my music, I can teach and I can say certain things that people can gravitate towards. Right. So I definitely feel you on that. With the poetry, what I love, because I do my artistry with my writing. Right. I actually start off with just poetry, and I've just put it towards the beat and stuff like that. What I've been learning now is to try to, because I want to get into reciting poetry and things like that, but I haven't learned how to necessarily take it away from the beat, right, and then translate it, and not be able to read off my phone and things like that. So how did you get to a point where you can remember everything that you're saying and reciting and do it on the phone?
I think it's practice makes precision.
Yeah.
NBA players shoot free throws all the time in practice, over and over again, so to perfect their shot and their stroke. And I think with the artists, it's the same way. Yeah. They're your words, that make it a little bit easier. But the more times you recite them to yourself, it's muscle memory. So you're flexing that memory gland. So, you do something probably, I think, 7 to 10 times, make it a habit. So same thing with your words. You keep repeating them over and over again to yourself in the shower, you know what I'm saying, in the morning at breakfast. Yeah. At night before you go to bed. Right. At the end of the week, you're going to know that piece.
So is there any time that you're not, like, in your head creating poems and creating things to say, bars or things like that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still living my life. I have a daughter and a family. I still, like I said, go grocery store and pick up trash, stuff like that. So, you're not creating 24/7. Right. And actually, it's hard to find time to create because of the scheduling and the shows and the performances. When you think about an artist that's touring, they're doing the same set, the same album for a year or two. Most artists that are really successful, are doing the same material. New Edition is still doing "Can You Stand the Rain?" Because that's the biggest.
That's the biggest.
Nobody cares about their last album.
Right.
They want to hear about the album. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So sometimes it's hard to find time and space to create something new because people want to hear what they fell in love with. What they know you for. And then you have all the other things that go on with life that you just can always find time to sit down and write something new. Yeah,
that's normally how I approach it. Like, I like to take spans of where I live life a little bit, and then I'm able to create content in my head to then go, when I do, link up with my producers and get the beats, and I can put what's going on in my head and put it down. Right. So I definitely understand that.
Right.
On this podcast, we highlight businesses and stuff. A lot of times we talk to a lot of artists, and a lot of artists are trying to figure out the way of how do they translate their work or their thing that they're creating into money in a business. So how did you translate poetry into a business and created your business model?
So the first thing I would say is that people should find something that they would do for free, right? And the trick is doing it so well people are willing to pay you for it.
Yep.
A lot of artists come into this industry because they want to get paid.
They want to get,
and not because they enjoy the art. You know what I'm saying? So there are days when you're not going to get paid.
Yep.
And you still do the same exact show that you did when you were going to get paid.
With the same intensity.
The same intensity.
Yep.
That's going to get you paid. And so I started out, just doing what I love to do, because I think your art, your poetry is for you.
Yeah.
And then people identify with your work.
Right.
And then it becomes partially for them also.
Yep.
And then people want you to perform or share it with other audiences.
Right.
And they're like, well, how much do you charge?
Yeah.
So I don't think it was ever, I was ever in it for the money.
Right.
But when I noticed that it was available and possible, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
And you started tagging.
You want to pay me for this?
Yeah.
When I started doing research on how much professional speakers got paid, or poets got paid, or creative writers got paid, I was like, oh, this is a whole industry.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was even available in that way. So then I was able to start doing research when people quote me about, how much would you charge? I had to go back and look and say, oh, I can charge $250 for 15, 20 minutes. Like, this is crazy.
Exactly.
So I slowly had to start to build my brand and my pricing structure, but that wasn't why I started.
Right.
I kind of came along with the territory once I got to a certain level of credibility.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because I've always felt like that was the thing that I'll know that I really love to do something if I could do it for free. And also finding that, like, a lot of people want to be, the artist or be the person that's the big, making millions of dollars. But if you find, like, for me, I just want to be able to feed my family, be able to have a home. So for me, if I find different ways in the industry to still be around music and be around creating, I'm still good. That's why I created the podcast. I felt like it was another way for me to get into the industry and still, I like creating. I like creating shows and talking to people. So I definitely feel you on that one. So what are some of the uphill battles that you dealt with, like dealing with creating a business and things like that?
Employees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Having a staff of people that you have to manage and pay is always difficult, because people aren't going to see your vision or support your vision the same way that you would.
Right.
So when it comes to being on time, especially when the artist field, you have musicians or people behind the camera or whatever, like, they're artists too. So they're not always in the right mind frame of timeliness and being on time and professionalism. So it's a battle that you have to face every day till you find good people that you can depend on. So having employees is probably the most difficult part of having a business. Right.
So how do you pick those people and know that these people are the right people?
Man, I don't think you pick them. You know what I'm saying? You don't know until you go through it.
Until you go, okay.
Yeah. So you have suggestions, you do interviews, you meet people out in different spaces, you see people's work, and you're like, oh, I'd love for you to work with me on this project, but you don't know how it is to work with them until you work with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then from that point, you have to navigate how to communicate with that person, see what if the project came out the way you wanted it to or not. And, communication is the biggest thing. If you communicate with that person effectively and make tweaks and to make your project what it needs to be, then I think that's the most important thing is communication.
Right.
But referrals are always good.
Right.
But having training is always good.
Okay, I see.
So I have an onboarding process. I do a lot of after school programming.
Okay.
And so I have probably about 3 or 4 teaching artists that teach after school programming under my company, and they have to intern with the company for at least 6 months before they can have their own workshop.
Okay, I see.
So you need to shadow somebody, be into a workshop, with somebody else, be on time, be dressed appropriately, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta show me that you're ready. And at that point you can graduate to having your own space. But if you can't, do 6 months, you know what I'm saying, in this workshop, learning how to actually do it and be there, then I don't need you.
Have you ever had like feelings of like, because now I've been going through with creating my business, is like sometimes I feel like real alone while doing it because, like you said, some people don't see your vision the way they see it. They're not going to work at it with the same intensity,
right?
Especially if there's no money involved, because people like to do things for money. Do you ever how do you deal with like feelings of maybe like feeling by yourself in the business and things like that, especially when you first started?
Man, I think that everything you born into this world by yourself.
You're right.
So and if you're not dedicated about doing it by yourself, nobody else is going to want to join your team.
Right, exactly.
You know, people want to gravitate towards somebody that is the passion and the success is in that. So if they don't see you doing it, you can't expect them to want to be part of it either.
It's almost like you have to lead the...
you got to lead. It's your company, it's your business. You got to show and prove. And so, you got to show them that you can do it by yourself.
Right.
And then adding pieces and scaling your business is something different. But if you're not in it 100%, you can't expect anybody else to come in and give you that same time of energy.
Right. So how do you deal with like someone who maybe, they're around, they're there, but then they may fall off and then you're getting more success and they want to come back? Like,
it depends. That happens a lot, and it just depends on where you are in the next project. Like, for example, with the Portrait Cafe, we have singers, people who sing with the band. And I've had 3, 4, 5, 7, 9 of them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so some of them drop off for whatever reason, that job, move, baby, family, or want to do something different with their art, and then come back a couple years later, like, well, I want to sing with y'all again. That's great, but I already have somebody in that space, so I can put you on this reserve. Right. If so-and-so can't make it, I can call you as a backup, but you're not about to come in and get the first spot again. You got to go back to the back of the line. You know what I'm saying? So if they want it, then they got to work themselves back in. And I can't guarantee I'm going to have room or space for you. Right. But, if you're interested and I have a gap that needs to be filled, I'll definitely,
Has anyone ever, have you dealt with, people who are, get jealous or mad at the fact that you're making a business move or a business decision?
Yeah, I think that's part of just the industry, period. People question a lot of times why, you're making more than they're making and what you're doing. I'm like, well, did you put in on this? Right. Did you build this? Did you grow this? Did you buy the equipment or the sound stuff? So when you're talking about collaborating with somebody, you just gotta be clear, this is what we're doing. Right. This is how much I'm going to pay you for this. Is that cool? Sure, you're interested? Have your contract paperwork in order. Right. Get your lawyer on retainer. If this is a business, you need to go ahead and make your investments up front. So you can make sure you're able to handle your business properly. Right. And again, I think communication is just key in that. And I think I'm a lot better at it now than I was at the beginning. Yeah. But again, it's just making sure that everybody's on the same page. Right. Right.
So, has there ever been a time where you've had to maybe someone is you deal with customers or someone who is not the best, pleasing to deal with? Do you still continue to do business with that person, or do you separate yourself from that person?
Yeah, definitely separate yourself. Just move forward. Yep. You know what I'm saying? There's other people out there that you can work with. They're not the only person in town, that has that particular skill and whatnot. And your peace of mind is going to be most important and most valuable. Right. I mean, they may be very talented and skilled with what they're doing, but at the end of the day, your peace of mind is going to be more important than this person's skill. Yep. If they're dragging you down to make you feel a certain kind of way, you probably want to get away from that.
Yep. And then also, how do you deal with people who are what's the word for it? They almost feel entitled to entitled to being with your yeah. How do you separate those people who are they're your friend, but they never really help the grind, but they feel entitled to you?
Yeah, so I guess that's just clear communication. Yeah, and it's difficult because it's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. I work with a lot of young people. Right. And growing them from a space where they were in middle school, elementary school, then high school, and then to a space where they're adults now. Yeah. And now we can get paid for what we do. Right. So sometimes in those spaces where they see you getting paid and you're bringing them in at a high school level, well, I want to get paid too. Right. Well, you ain't putting the time and the energy or the effort yet. Right. You put in a couple more years, we can see about getting you a contract to do something, getting you a paid gig, but you're not there yet. Right. You put the time and effort and grind in to get to the next level, and it's right there. Yep. But you can't come in on that level. Yep. So sometimes they see that and they want to be that, but they don't understand the working time. Right. It comes to put. You know what I'm saying? You want to be an NBA player, but you got to go high school, college, practice. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come in and get an NBA contract. That's not the way that it works. Exactly. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into the pre-work for that. And again, it's just explain that to them. Yeah. like, you know, I think you're a great artist. I think you have a lot to offer, but you can't even show up on time. So I can't send you out on a contract under my company and you can't show up on time for practice. You know, so there's levels to it. You got to make sure they understand that.
I've been starting to mentor some younger guys that are in high school and try to help them with their music and stuff. And that's the main thing I've been trying to get them to understand is when doing this, you know, it's built millions and billions of people who want to be an artist or rapper or those things. But the people that cut through are the ones that have a clear-cut plan and they also have put the work in. So I tell them a lot of times that I'm not going to award you to, you know, record and things like that for free if you're not putting in the extra work, you know what I'm saying, which is get to school on time, you know what I'm saying, you know, treat your parents with respect, you know, different things of that, not, you know, because those things are going to make you a better business person, a better person to move through life, because if you don't do it right, then things are going to suffer, especially in this industry we're in. Like you said, it's shady people in the industry, people want to do petty things. Have you ever had like someone who you've made a business move away and they try to do some petty things to you?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Happens all the time. But again, it's up to you where you decide to put your energy. You know what I'm saying? So I just continue to move forward. You know, there are lots of situations where people did some grimy stuff on a particular gig, and I just was like, that's cool. We don't work together anymore. Just keep it moving forward. There's no need to keep
going back and forth.
Rehashing it out, going back and forth. Like, that's time, energy. It's not necessary when I can put more time, energy into this next move. And so being able to pivot is important. Being able to continue to move forward is also important. So do you find yourself to be like a spiritual person? Like you believe in manifestation and things? Yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, especially being a spoken word artist, you're able to speak your dreams and ideas into reality. And that's a lot of that is having faith. A lot is having consistency and just sticking to the plan. And also being adaptable. You know what I'm saying? That pivot thing is very important. Being able to adjust to new terrain, new territories. With COVID happening, you know what I'm saying? Like how are you still gonna pivot when you were making most of your money from touring? Everybody had to create something online, create something that was virtual. You know, which took an investment, getting a camera, getting a ring light, getting whatever. But you got to make that pivot and make that move, something different. It's a lot harder to perform to a ring light than it is performing to a live audience. You know what I'm saying? And that energy sometimes has to transcend across the screen. So doing stuff on Zoom is much different than doing it in front of an audience of people. So that's something I'm learning is adjusting in business is crazy, because like you could be thinking you have a partner 1 second and something happens and then everything changes. And it's like not getting, because before when I first started I would get like discouraged because I'm like, man, there's all these different, you know, as humans we don't like change, especially sudden change. Then I start realizing that just comes with the punches most of the time. It comes with the business. So I'm definitely learning that over time. I would just keep it even simpler than that. Like you learned how to walk by what? By literally practicing over and over. What would you do first? Could you walk in the beginning? Nope. What'd you do? You crawled. You crawled. And we learned how to walk. Did you fall? A lot of times, right? You fell lots of times. You know what I mean? Until you learn how to kind of get up and pick yourself up and learn how to walk a little better. Talking was the same way. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't talk either. You know, you use some signs and then you mumble a little bit. You can say my, dad in sentences. So this business is the same way. You know, you're going to take your bruises and your falls and your stumbles, but getting back up and trying again is what's going to make what's going to make or break you. Because if you quit, then you never know what's going to happen. I'm not the best poet. There's some dope poets out there. I know them. I've seen them. I've met them. Seen them rock. I'm not on that level. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the grind, consistency, as far as being the person that gets up every day and continue to push the brand, like you know, nobody can beat you at being yourself. So what keeps you going? Like what keeps you so motivated to keep that grind going? First of all, I think it's part of me. Like I said, originally I do it because it's what I love to do. You know, but then knowing that when I do it right, there are other things that follow with that opportunity. You know, winning is inspiring. You know what I'm saying? Winning is definitely inspiring. But I mean, to be honest, you probably learn more from your losses than you do your wins. You know, but repetition and winning and opportunity. I think opportunity is huge. I have opportunity to do some work in the Philippines this year and New Zealand this year. And that's dope. I'm like, what poetry? I get to be in New Zealand and in the Philippines this year? Just because of a poem? You know? That's funny you say opportunity, because that's how I feel about today. Today, for me, is an opportunity to reach out, because
you know, I've dealt with a lot of artists and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to come in and deal with like a poet and someone who's created the business and who's not on the come up, that's actually established at the foundation is huge for me, because I want to start branching out and start talking to people who are actually in that, you know, actually have their foundation of business, because we can feed that information. Yeah. This show for me was just to basically give information to the younger generation that are coming up in business and anything really, not just music. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's a great point. Like in who you know, right?
Yep.
Say for example the contract that we have here with JMU, the brother went to A&T with me.
Oh, okay. So
you know what I'm saying. So now every school he works with, he calls me like, you come out to our school, right? So he hooked us up with the opportunity to be at JMU today. So I was like, I got to be here. So I called every school
that's in the area
in a 2-hour radius and said, I'm going to be in your state. Would you be interested in having us at your school?
Right.
Boom, I picked up 2 more. You know what I'm saying? Then one of the schools was like, we have some elementary and middle schools in our city that would love some poetry. I was like, bet. Shoot me an email. Nice. So then we ended up doing middle school and high school in the same city on a college tour.
Right.
You think I cared?
Yep.
Nope, not at all. They're writing a check.
Keep grinding.
You know what I'm saying? We grinded. Last night in the hotel, they have a rooftop, you know what I'm saying, bar.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all play live music in here? They was like, yeah, we do. This dude comes every Thursday. I was like, oh, word? They was like, yeah. So what do you think we're doing tonight? I'm like, the band is here. We're finishing the show at 8.
You wanna go?
You cool with us playing some music tonight? You know what I'm saying? So I'm waiting for a call back from the manager now, but we here. It's opportunity. Why not?
I like that, because that's exactly my mentality. Like when something comes about, I try not to wait on it. I try to just immediately attack on it.
You can't.
And sometimes I've been dealing with you know, sometimes people say, yo, you're rushing too much. I've had a lot of outside noise saying, yo, you're rushing, because mistakes are going to happen if you're trying to, you know, do things. But like you said, you have to fall. You crawl before you walk. So you start learning that.
Look, if you cannot win from the bench. You can't hit the game with a shot from the bench. It ain't going to count. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on the court playing. You're going to make some mistakes. And in this business, all people can tell you is no. What would it hurt for you to ask if I could play tonight in this spot? Nothing. It ain't hurt.
And sometimes those no's could be, like, for me, it's motivation, because it's like, now I'm going to make sure I do something bigger. You know, maybe you're going to see me on the next time. You might have to reach out to me this time instead of me reaching out to you. Right. Definitely. I definitely feel you.
Yeah, man, that's just pushing the envelope and just continuing to take chances. And to see opportunity where there may not have been anything in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, create your own lane.
Right. I like that. So we'll take a little break here and we'll get right back to it.